Hello viewers, 4DIYers here with another tutorial video for everyone. In this particular video here, I'll be doing a demonstration on the 4 different ways you can break the taper free on a ball joint. Depending if you're reusing a ball joint or not, this will affect the best method for your application, and I will cover those in each of the removal options. Ball joints with a taper are typically used on tie rods and the connection between the control arm and steering knuckle. Once the taper on the ball joint breaks loose, it's free, so there is no struggle such as what you may find with a slide-in cylinder-shaped object. Starting with method number 1. This removal process is recommended when you're not reusing the ball joints, as you can damage the threads on the stud. Here I was having a little trouble using the tuning fork, so instead I gave a threaded stud a few hits with a hammer and the taper came free. If you are worried about damaging the threads, you can either use a brass hammer, which is softer than the stud, or install a nut that sits flush with the threaded stud. Moving on to method number 2. This method can be used when reusing ball joints and doesn't require any specialty tools. This is simply hitting the side of the casting with a hammer on the steering knuckle right by the ball joint. The shock from the hit provides enough vibration to break the taper free. However, it does not always work, as there may be tension pushing towards the steering knuckle, preventing the ball joint from breaking free. This method should not be used on cast aluminum components, as you can crack the casting. Method number 3. Using a tuning fork. There is a variety of styles available. Some are solid and some have a replaceable end, such as what I have. And my kit also includes an attachment so you can use a tuning fork with an air chisel. Now I have a couple of old ball joints just to give you an example. As you can see, we have 3 different sized tuning forks, and you will need to pick the best option for your style of ball joint. While the smaller version does fit around the base of the shaft, the diameter does increase at the taper slightly, which prevents the tuning fork from moving any further and will eventually jam when hammered on. If the tuning fork is too large, it may not have good contact around the base of the joint assembly, not providing adequate pressure when being hammered into place. Unfortunately, when using a tuning fork, there is a large risk of damaging the ball joint's boot, which jeopardizes its life expectancy. Once that boot is ripped, this allows grease to escape and a spot for foreign contaminants to enter, wearing out the ball joint quicker. This fork is shaped as a wedge, so when hit with a hammer, it forces itself between the ball joint and steering knuckle, breaking the taper free. And finally, last but not least, method number 4. Using a ball joint separator. Again, as a specialty tool just like the tuning fork, available in a variety of sizes, and some designs can vary. This tool allows you to reuse the old ball joint with no damage. As a brief demonstration with the separator, this model is able to adjust to 2 different sizes, and this is done by removing the pin, then selecting the next hole. When the separator is in place, it uses leverage to push the threaded stud down while pulling the casting of the steering knuckle away from the taper. The bar on top pushes against the ball joint's threaded stud, while the fork-shaped portion pushes against the steering knuckle. The bolt is tightened on the opposite side, working as a lever to break the taper free. If you are having a little trouble, sometimes you can give a quick hit with a hammer to provide shock to the steering knuckle. However, as mentioned earlier, hitting an aluminum casting with a hammer is not recommended. New videos are released every week on my channel. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, it's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.